Welcome to Learning with the Boys and Girls Club. If you are on this video, you are ready to learn the periodic table from the very beginning. So let's get started.
And now, ASAP Science presents the elements of the periodic table.
There's hydrogen and helium, then lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon everywhere, nitrogen all through the air, with oxygen so you can breathe, and fluorine for your pretty teeth, neon to light up the signs, sodium for salty times,
magnesium,
aluminium, silicon,
phosphorus,
then sulfur, chlorine, and argon,
potassium,
and calcium so you'll grow strong,
scandium,
titanium, vanadium, and chromium, and manganese. This is the periodic table, noble gases stable, halogens and alkyl react aggressively. Each period will see new outer shells while electrons are added, moving to the right. Iron is the 26th, then cobalt, nickel coins you get, copper, zinc, and gallium, germanium, and arsenic, selenium, and bromine film, while krypton helps light up your room, rubidium, and strontium, then yttrium, zirconium,
niobium,
molybdenum, technetium,
ruthenium,
rhodium, palladium,
silverware,
then cadmium and indium,
tin cans,
antimony, then tellurium, and iodine, and xenon, and then cesium, and barium is 56, and this is where the table splits, where lanthanides have just begun, lanthanum, cerium, and praseodymium. Neodymium's next to promethium, then 62, samarium, europium, gadolinium, and terbium, dysprosium, holmium, erbium, thulium, ytterbium, lutetium, hafnium, tantalum, tungsten, then we're on to rhenium, osmium, and iridium, platinum, gold to make you rich till you grow old, mercury to tell you when it's really cold,
thallium,
and lead, then bismuth for your tummy,
polonium,
astatine would not be yummy,
radon,
francium will last a little time,
radium,
then actinides at 89. This is the periodic table, noble gases stable, halogens and alkali react aggressively. Each period will see new outer shells while electrons are to the right. Actinium, thorium, protactinium, uranium, neptunium, plutonium, americium, curium, berkelium, californium, isonium, fermium, and olevium, nobelium, lawrencium, rutherfordium, wm, sprigium, boreum, hesium, meitnerium, dubsadium, rocenium, copernicium, nihonium, flerovium, moscovium, livermorium, tennessine, and organesson, and then we're done.
So what do you need today? Just a periodic table if you have one. If you don't, that's okay. I'll supply one in the slides. Pencil and paper would be helpful, and a lap book or notebook. If you have these, that's great. If you don't, that's okay. Just continue learning with us. Don't forget to pause the slides as you're going along and participate. That is extremely helpful. So come on in. We're going to learn the basics of a periodic table. Our objectives today are to understand what elements need to be organized, how the periodic table was developed, and what information about the elements is provided by the periodic table. Are you ready? I am, so let's do it. The periodic table. This is a periodic table. Don't let it scare you. We're going to break it down piece by piece. Do you organize? Do you organize things according to their properties? Maybe you organize music in your phone according to genre, or like rock music, pop music, country music. Do you organize dishes in the dish rack, or maybe you put pots and pans in a cabinet and silverware in a drawer? Maybe you put clothes in your pants in one drawer, or you hang clothes according to color. Maybe you're not quite that organized. Maybe you put clothes in the washer by color, or by maybe you wash brights without putting darks in at the same time so that they don't get messed up. That is organizing according to property. Well, meet Mendeleev. That is exactly what he did. In 1869, Dmitri Mendeleev created the first periodic table. Mendeleev had individual cards for each element. There were only 63 discovered at the time. He wrote down the melting point, density, color, and atomic mass on each of these cards. He then tried to arrange the cards in different ways to organize them. Mendeleev eventually noticed a pattern when he arranged the elements in order of increasing atomic mass. That's important, increasing atomic mass. This was what the periodic table, remember, periodic table, this is what the periodic table looked like way back then. He left blank spaces and predicted they would be filled in by elements that had not yet been discovered. Pretty smart dude, huh? Then he correctly predicted the properties of those new elements. The periodic table is one of a chemist's most powerful tools, even today. What does the word periodic mean to you? It means in a regular, repeated pattern. When Mendeleev created the first periodic table in 1869, he arranged his table according to the atomic mass. He found that patterns of properties were repeated regularly. What information does the periodic table contain? The periodic table contains information about each of the known elements, including this. 79 is the atomic number, this number at the top. The number at the bottom is the atomic. This big number in the middle, that's the chemical symbol. The words at the bottom, that's the element name. Don't worry if you didn't get all that. We're going to go over it again. The one at the top, that's the atomic number. It's shown at the top of each cell. The cell is the box. For gold, which is the one you see here, the atomic number is 79. This means every gold atom has 79 protons in its nucleus. It is the number of protons in the nucleus of an atom, which is equal to the number of electrons. Protons is equal to the number of electrons. It gives an element its identity. That number is pretty important, as you can see. The periodic table is arranged by increasing atomic number, not by atomic mass like Mendeleev originally thought. Ready for the next one? All right, chemical symbol. That's the two letters right here. It can be one letter or two letters. Gold has two letters. It's in the center of each cell, and it's the chemical symbol for the element. It's the abbreviation of the element's name. Doesn't always look just like gold is AU, so it doesn't look just like gold. It contains one or two letters. For gold, the letters are AU. Okay, atomic mass. Atomic mass are located at the bottom of the cell. It's the average mass of all of the isotopes of that element. The atomic mass for gold is 196.967 or 197. To find the number of neutrons, round the atomic mass to the nearest whole number. Subtract the atomic number 197 minus 79 equals 118. What information does the periodic table contain? The periodic table contains information about each of the known elements, including gold. Gold. What information does the periodic table contain? The periodic table contains information about each of the known elements, including gold. Gold. So what information does the periodic table contain? We've discussed a lot of it already. The periodic table is a chart of elements arranged according to the repeating patterns of properties. And the periodic table shows us that it's now arranged in order of increasing atomic number instead of increasing atomic mass. So if all this is confusing you, that's okay. We're going to explain it as we go. Elements have similar properties Elements that have similar properties are grouped together. Now that's all we're going to do at the moment. We will go into much more detail and explain a whole lot more, but right now, let's just practice. Okay, let's practice. Pause the video and then come back and we'll go over the answer. Identify this element's name. If you said potassium, you are correct. All right, here's the next one. Can you identify this element's name? If you said calcium, you are correct. Here's the next one. Can you identify this element's name? If you said nitrogen, you are correct. Let's practice something different. Identify the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons for each of the elements below. Pause the video. If you said the protons were 26, the electrons were 26, and 56 minus 26 is 30, so the neutrons are 30. You are correct. Let's do the next one. Okay, now for the next one. Identify the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons for rhodium. Pause the video. If you said rhodium has 45 protons, 45 electrons, and 103 minus 45 is 58, so 58 neutrons. You are correct. Let's do the next one. Identify hafniums, protons, neutrons, and electrons. Pause the video. If you said hafniums, protons were 72, electrons were 72, and 178 minus 72 is 106. So hafniums, neutrons are 106. Very good. And that's it. That's your practice. So we'll move on to much more in-depth periodic table in your next video. Awesome. I'm so proud of you. And here's that song you love so much.
And now, ASAP Science presents the elements of the periodic table.
There's hydrogen and helium, then lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon everywhere, nitrogen all through the air, with oxygen so you can breathe, and fluorine for your pretty teeth, neon to light up the signs, sodium for salty times,
Magnesium,
aluminium, silicon,
phosphorus,
then sulfur, chlorine, and argon,
potassium,
and calcium so you'll grow strong,
scandium,
titanium, vanadium, and chromium, and manganese. This is the periodic table, noble gases stable, halogens and alkyl react aggressively. Each period will see new outer shells while electrons are added, moving to the right. Iron is the 26th, then cobalt, nickel coins you get, copper, zinc, and gallium, germanium, and arsenic, selenium, and bromine film, while krypton helps light up your room, rubidium, and strontium, then yttrium, zirconium,
niobium,
molybdenum, technetium,
ruthenium,
rhodium, palladium,
silverware,
then cadmium and indium,
tin cans,
antimony, then tellurium, and iodine, and xenon, and then cesium, and
barium is 56, and this is where the table splits, where lanthanides have just begun, lanthanum, cerium, and praseodymium. Neodymium's next to promethium, then 62, samarium, europium, gadolinium, and terbium, dysprosium, holmium, erbium, thulium, ytterbium, lutetium, hafnium, tantalum, tungsten, then we're on to rhenium, osmium, and iridium, platinum, gold to make you rich till you grow old, mercury to tell you when it's really cold,
thallium,
and lead, the bismuth for your tummy,
polonium,
astatine would not be yummy,
radon,
francium will last a little time,
radium,
then actinides at 89. This is the periodic table, noble gases stable, halogens and alkali react aggressively. Each period will see new outer shells while electrons are to the right. Actinium, thorium, protactinium, uranium, neptunium, plutonium, americium, curium, berkelium, californium, isonium, fermium, and olevium, nobelium, lawrencium, rutherfordium, wm, sprigium, boreum, hesium, meitnerium, dubsidium, rhenium, copernicium,
nihonium, flerovium, moscovium, livermorium, tennessine, and organesson,
and then we're done.